What's up, guys? Welcome back to another review, and I'm going to give you my quick thoughts on Darkman 2, The Return of Durant, the direct-to-video sequel to the amazing first movie, which was directed by Sam Raimi. This time around, directing duties go to Bradford May, who also does the cinematography. And also, unlike the first movie, this was a direct-to-video movie, and it clearly shows its quality. Now, that doesn't make it bad or good. That's just the way it is, and that's just the way it was, you know. But but that doesn't affect the overall quality of the movie, you know. Of course, Liam Neeson does not return for the role. Liam Neeson does not return as Westlake. Arnold Vosloo was cast in the role instead. Frances McDormand is not in this movie, and the character of Julie Hastings is completely non-existent in this movie too. It's this movie kind of acts like a soft reboot. It really does act like a soft reboot, because a lot of references to Julie and the character of Louis Strack is completely non-existent in this movie. It's not even alluded to at all. This movie pretty much just has sole focus on Durant and Durant's participation in Westlake's demise, and creation and overall and eventual creation into Darkman. That's what Darkman 2 does. Darkman 2 focuses more on the rivalry between Robert Durant and Westlake. But yeah, that's pretty much. But yeah, that's that. You know, this movie is like a slight little retcon of the first movie. And to give my overall thoughts on Darkman 2, I like it. It's serviceable. It's clearly, in terms of its writing, directing, and cinematography, it's a step down from the first movie, which had amazing cinematography by Bill Pope, Sam Raimi as excellent directing, and had a much. And Vosloo does a very, he does an admirable job as Westlake. I've always considered Arnold Vosloo to be a very underrated actor, and he does his best trying to fill the shoes of Liam Neeson, who pretty much gave Darkman a distinct personality and everything like that. But Vosloo tries to make it his own, and I give the guy credit. But Wesley comes across as a completely different character than he does in the first movie, where he's more somber. This Darkman, he has that somberness, and Vosloo does have some pretty good scenes that he sells really well. There's this really good scene I like when he's talking to this character called Jim Randall in a post office, and you can see the anger he had in his voice that he has for Durant. He says, "He took my face, my hands, my life. I won't stop till I see him dead." Good acting on Vosloo's part. I also like the scene where this character of David Brinkman, who is murdered by Durant, and David Brinkman's character is that he has this warehouse that Durant wants to use because this warehouse has enough energy to sustain a small city, and Durant wants to get his hands on a particle weapon, pretty much weapons of the new age, pretty much, by this mad scientist called Dr. Hathaway. And in order for these weapons to have any juice, it requires a lot of power. So they try to make a deal to Brinkman. He refuses. In turn, Westlake and Brinkman develop a friendship because Brinkman is doing the same studies with the whole synthetic skin. He and Westlake start to form a friendship. Of course, Durant ends up killing Brinkman because Brinkman refused to sign over the rights to the building. So, that's David Brinkman's character in a nutshell, pretty much. That's pretty much his whole deal. And, of course, that's the catalyst for the rest of the movie to go on. Pretty much Brinkman's death is what, triggers in Westlake's brain that Durant is back and he's alive and he's back to his old killing ways again. So, yeah, all that stuff is good. The character of Jill Randall, played by Kim Delaney, who I had mentioned earlier, she's also good too. She's a reporter. I like the partnership and friendship that her and Darkman have. They're combining forces to track down Durant and to expose him. Of course, Jill's efforts go to the wearer because Durant pretty much has her killed in a car explosion. And that just adds on to Darkman's thing as well. In addition to that, he's also trying to protect David's sister, Lori. So yeah, Darkman, he kind of has a lot to do in this movie. You know, he's kind of like all over the place. He's got like 3 separate storylines going on. And I think Arnold Vosloo does the best he can trying to juggle everything all at once. You know, there are times where, you know, he stumbles here and there, but it's not like, it doesn't like take you out of the movie. It's just like, you know, you're adding too many plots into an overall basic movie. This movie should have been Durant's back, and he wants to get his hands on Westlake for pretty much trying to kill him. That should have been the overall movie. Instead, Durant doesn't really realize Westlake is in the game until the last act of the movie. That's where the movie remembers that, oh wait, we got to get, you know, Durant has to know about Westlake. Like the entire second act is Westlake trying to track down Durant, and Durant being oblivious, not even knowing what the hell's going on. So, yeah, the movie's very like sloppy that way, in my opinion. It's like, it doesn't have like, there's no rivalry. You know, the movie just expects you to know the first one for this one, and if you see this by itself, you're kind of like, does this guy Durant know what the hell's going on right now? Because he doesn't even reference Westlake at the last act of the movie. But yeah, that's bad. It does take away a lot because I don't get that sense of a rivalry. Because I've seen the first movie, I do get the sense of the rivalry. But if I'm watching this as someone who's never seen the first movie, there's no connection except for what's being said through dialogue and with that little flashback sequence. Because Durant is pretty much, when Durant's on screen, he's more focused on trying to get his empire back on track than he is about wanting to get revenge on Westlake. You know, that's that. But in terms of performances-wise, Larry Drake steals the show in this movie as Durant. Again, Drake as Durant was great in the first movie, one of the best parts of the first movie, and Darkman 2, he's pretty much the star. I think about 60% of the screen time, about maybe 60% of screen time goes to Larry Drake as Durant. And every scene he's in, he just chews up the scenery. You can tell this man is having a ball playing this man. And that energy just goes through the screen. Every time Drake is on screen as Durant, you can't take your eyes off him because he's either having something very quippy to say or he's doing something that you just can't take your eyes off. Like to one of his henchmen. He's either torturing one of his henchmen, he's either torturing somebody, or he's just having a conversation with somebody, just making these sly remarks and having these witty comments. Drake is fantastic as Durant, always has been. And this movie is more of a Durant showcase piece than it is an actual Darkman versus Durant type of movie. So yeah, that's pretty much all I got to say about Darkman 2. There's not really a whole lot of plot to this movie. There's no main plot that this movie. It has a bunch of different plots that eventually get all tied up by the end. And by the end, you really don't really care about what really happens because you're not really on this emotional ride like you were in the first movie. Like, you don't get a sense of Westlake's revenge to Durant. I mean, you get a sense of Westlake's revenge towards Durant, but you don't get a sense of revenge from Durant's side towards Westlake. And to me, that brings this movie down a lot, especially since the first one built up these two so well in terms of a rivalry. This one kind of didn't have fun with it enough, in my opinion. Did not have fun with it enough. And that's a shame. But from a technical side, Bradford May does a journeyman's job directing. He gets, I don't think he's a good movie director. I don't think he was able to get enough good performances of actors, but he got what he got. He didn't do a horrible job. The cinematography, it's standard for a direct-to-video movie. It's okay. The movie's, it's polished enough. The practical effects look good. The Darkman burn makeup looks okay. Not as good as the first movie. This one looks more like makeup as opposed to the first movie, which actually looked more real. This one, and the second time around, because of low budget, kind of looks more fake, which is why you don't see it that often. And when you do see it, it's mostly in shadows and in darkness, so that it has a more realistic look to it. But when you see it in bright light, it looks fake. But yeah. So yeah, at the end of the day, I'm going to give Darkman 2. I'm going to give it a 6.5 out of 10, and a lot of that grade goes to Larry Drake as Durant. He's fantastic. He steals the show. He's the best part of the movie. But some supporting, but Arnold Vosloo does a good job taking over the role of Westlake. Not as good as Liam Neeson, but good for what he was given. And that's it. That's all I got to say. 6.5 out of 10. If you haven't seen Darkman 2, give it a watch. It's easy. It's a quick watch. It's not boring, and will keep you entertained. Anyway, my name is AJ Legend. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll check you back next time for more.